Hello and welcome to the forum. Every week, we take no more than 15 minutes to discuss the 3 highest conviction ideas surfaced across the Smart Karma network, cutting through the noise and helping you zero in on what truly matters most. The live forum and Q&A session are exclusively available to Smart Karma Plus subscribers. You can always revisit previous episodes on this YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's dive into this week's ideas.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Smart Karma's weekly forum. Just a little reminder, the forum is a high-impact weekly live webinar exclusive for Smart Karma Plus subscribers. We use this as an opportunity to discuss the best, highest conviction insights as surfaced across our network. A little disclaimer, the forum is meant purely for information purposes and does not constitute investment advice. It is the opinion not of Smart Karma, but that of our insight providers, and Chatham House rule applies. Every week, we use the forum to present 3 ideas to you. These are typically organized into a small cap, a large cap, and a key thematic that the network is excited about. At the end of the week, we also upload forum videos onto our YouTube channel. We have noticed that a lot of you like to catch up on past forums, or in case you have missed the forum, you want to look at it at your own time and pace, you do that as well. You can also share these videos with your friends to get their opinion and views on some of these ideas. Today, we will look at these 3 ideas. We'll kick off with Binjiang Holdings, which is a property management services company in China. Next, we will look at Appier, which is a Japan-listed AI firm, which is really exploding in business. And lastly, we will look at Thailand's reopening and how we expect the economy to revive, and also for tourism beneficiaries to re-rate. At any given point of time on this forum, you can ask questions using the Q&A button on your Zoom window. Let's start with Binjiang. The ticker is 3316 Hong Kong. The market cap is just under $1 billion, and this trades about $1 million a day. So it's it's a typical small cap, but it's probably on the higher side of some of the small cap ideas that we have presented. What does Binjiang do? Binjiang offers property management services at residential and non-residential properties. What that means is, a property developer would bring on a property management service company to operate essentially all the services at that particular property. As you can see from the chart on the right-hand side, this has been a very, very steady compounder over the years. Last year, for instance, they reported 46% revenue growth and 47% profit growth. They're guiding to about 40% profit growth this year, between this year and next. Now, why do we like this? Binjiang is actually the top performing company in terms of how resilient its margins have been, and versus its entire peer group, which has seen margins come off. It also offers a very good combination of value and growth. So this is trading on about 9 times forward earnings. It has 25% of its market cap in cash. And as I mentioned, it's looking to grow at about 40%. The other great thing is Binjiang continues to pay 60% of its earnings as dividends, which means you're looking at a 5% dividend yield this year and a 7.5% next year, which means the stock has ample opportunity to re-rate. Now, lastly, but very importantly, we're starting to see China aggressively loosen its stance on property, as well as the rest of its restrictions. Yesterday, for instance, we saw a restriction in the use of derivatives to finance leverage for the property developers. So increasingly, we are starting to see China backstop the sector, which they had been tightening for the last year and a half. And property management services companies are going to be one of the beneficiaries of this easing from here on. Okay, let's move on to Appier. This is 4180 Japan. Again, this is one of the smaller companies. The market cap is under $1 billion. It trades about $4 million a day. So what does Appier do? Appier is an artificial intelligence SaaS company. That's a great segment to be in. We are starting to see large corporates shift into AI and AI-based solutions, and a SaaS business model offers unique visibility into future revenues. What's unique about Appier at the moment is that they recently started sort of entering and growing into the US market. It was 1% of revenue in the first quarter of 21, and a year later in the first quarter of 22, it's already become 9% of revenue. They've tripled their US headcount from just one sales guy to 3 sales guys to achieve this. So they are at the moment growing about 50% quarter on quarter in US, which is going to be the largest market for them. However, Mio Kato-san, who covers the stock, believes that the growth rates are closer to 100%. If this US momentum continues, the stock could be under 2 times sales, which is extremely cheap for an AI SaaS company. Not too many analysts cover it at the moment, but consensus definitely seems very conservative. And the stock was extremely sought after by institutional investors at the time of its IPO. But with the recent market correction, it has actually fallen to very, very reasonable levels. With that, I'm gonna I have a question on Binjung. I can handle that. The question is, does Binjung have a sponsor property developer behind it? And yes, the answer is yes, it does. And this sponsor has not had any of the liquidity issues that we've seen across other property developers, but it certainly is a source of growth and assets that will come into the listco over time. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, Thailand reopening. Right. I think the title is quite self-explanatory. Thailand has opened its borders to tourism, and we think this is going to be a multi-quarter recovery. The reopening story is here to stay. Today, for instance, news around Thailand is that the government will aggressively sponsor and endorse medical tourism again. Thailand, we all know, is very, very appealing to tourists. And, the service standards are very high, and the quality of hospitality is also very compelling. Now, vaccinated visitors can now immediately enter and are free to go anywhere in Thailand. That is big news. Tourism revenue should be able to recover to at least 80 to 90% of 2019 levels from what are very, very low numbers at the moment. Airports of Thailand, which is AOT, is one of the best places to play it. This is a monopoly business. They own and operate the airport in Thailand. There are several other beneficiaries. We like Thai Beverage, which is listed in Singapore. Siam Wellness Group is the largest organized spa operator in Thailand. And also, of course, medical tourism beneficiaries would include the listed hospital companies. So across Southeast Asia, we're seeing great tailwinds in the form of reopening and recovery as a result of that reopening, which should continue to boost the economies in this region, even though for large parts of the world, we're starting to see recessionary conditions develop. We discussed this at a prior forum. With that, I'm at the end of today's presentation. If you have any last residual questions, now would be a good time to ask them. If not, we'll look out for your sharing on the platform with your discussions. Great. Well, thank you for joining today's forum, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
That's it for this week. You can find more ideas like the ones we discussed today on demand on our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. If you like these ideas, spread the word. Tell a fellow investor about Smart Karma Plus and follow us on social media. Just search for Smart Karma. And of course, don't forget to visit smartkarma.com for more independent, differentiated investment insights. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.